It all started as a subtle whisper at Centennial High. There were no extravagant promotions or announcement tours, just a few crumpled flyers taped to the doors and some teachers gently suggesting to students, "You should apply." No one really knew what it was about, only that Kendrick Lamar was doing something special, something for them. It wasn't a concert, a giveaway, or even a surprise album drop. This initiative wasn't about streaming numbers or fame. It was about creating a future. Welcome to Celebrity Cookies, where the tea is always hot and the stories come with sprinkles of surprise. Make sure to subscribe, leave a comment with your take on the story. Word spread, and soon Compton to the world evolved from a phrase into a rallying cry, resonating with students who had nearly lost hope of being acknowledged beyond their community. It marked the launch of a youth fellowship program initiated by Kendrick Lamar and his Morale Foundation, something authentic, personal, and groundbreaking in its simplicity. It was a gesture meant to uplift others. Every year, 25 high school students from Compton were selected, not based on their academic performance, but for their creativity, vision for the future, and their desire to make a difference. By 2025, the program was in its third year, but this year was different. Kendrick didn't just increase the funding, he shattered barriers. He changed the landscape. Each fellow received a stipend for the entire year, allowing them to concentrate on the program without needing side jobs or compromising family responsibilities. Travel costs were fully covered, mentorships were thoughtfully curated, and every student was matched with a personal creative coach, ranging from poets to architects to filmmakers, based on their goals. But the most significant change in 2025? Kendrick became hands-on. He was no longer just the founder. He took on the roles of architect, mentor, and the driving force behind every element of the program. He stressed, "Show them the version of the world I didn't even know existed at their age. Let them see that they belong everywhere." Thus began a transformative journey that would change lives in ways that no chart-topping song ever could. In early June, the 25 fellows, most of whom had never left LA County, boarded a plane to Tokyo, Japan. For 2 weeks, they stayed in shared hostels, explored neon-lit streets, savored ramen in cozy stalls, and participated in masterclasses on architecture, protest art, and narrative photography. Kendrick teamed up with a local creative group in Shibuya to create a curriculum that went beyond typical sightseeing, focusing instead on deeper self-discovery. Each day began with a journal prompt and ended with a discussion circle under the Tokyo Tower. Participants contemplated what it means to bring the spirit of Compton into a new setting and how to appreciate beauty while recognizing sorrow. For Jordan, a quiet 16-year-old who carried a skateboard and a notebook filled with sneaker designs, the experience was life-changing. One afternoon in Harajuku, he found a small vintage shop owned by an older Japanese man with a gold grill and worn Jordans. The man gave Jordan a sketch pad and encouraged him, "Share your story. The real one." That evening, Jordan was filled with emotion. In his video diary, he shared, "I've never felt important outside my neighborhood, but this man motivated me to draw again. And that's thanks to Kendrick." During a Zoom call with the group, Kendrick listened closely as they shared similar stories. After Jordan spoke, Kendrick nodded and said, "That's because your story is universal. It just hasn't been heard yet." But their journey in Tokyo was only the beginning. The next phase took them to Johannesburg, South Africa, where they worked with educators from the Apartheid Museum and youth leaders from Soweto in workshops centered on themes of resistance, trauma, healing, and rhythm. Kendrick wanted them to grasp how the struggles in one place resonate with those in another. In Cliptown, during a drum circle at sunset, a 17-year-old named Destiny stood up. She visibly carried her sorrow, but when she spoke, everyone listened closely. "In Compton," she said, "we don't have a war like apartheid, but we have silence. We have unmarked graves, friends we don't mention, moms who cry in parking lots because they don't want to do it at home. That's our battle." There was no applause. It wasn't needed. The tears and nods around the circle conveyed everything. A connection had been formed, from Soweto to South LA, not through formal education, but through shared experiences of survival. Upon their return home, Kendrick gave them one simple instruction: create something that will outlast you. That was it. No specific guidelines, no pressure, just a challenge. The fellows responded with the fervor of artists shaped by adversity. One individual wrote and directed a short film titled Gas Station Churches, which delves into the delicate balance between sacred and dangerous spaces in Compton. Another person converted an old ice cream truck into a mobile sound studio, enabling children to record poems, songs, and even apologies. Destiny created a large mural beneath a freeway bridge depicting a black woman cleaning a bloodstained porch, with the words above proclaiming, "We clean what the world forgets." Kendrick attended each project quietly and alone, without any media presence or security. Sometimes he stood off to the side, nodding in approval. Other times he was moved to tears. To one student he remarked, "This work? This is what changes cities. You don't need a label. You are the message." The public was largely unaware of these activities, and Kendrick made sure it stayed that way. There were no Instagram live broadcasts or YouTube documentaries. The fellowship maintained only a simple website listing names, artworks, and a single quote, "We from the soil. That don't mean we don't deserve the stars." Nonetheless, word began to spread. By the end of the year, school principals from Watts and Inglewood were contacting Kendrick's foundation to ask about student applications. A group from Stanford sought a meeting, and even Harvard discreetly invited Kendrick to discuss his educational philosophy. However, the most significant outcome was not the attention it received, but the legacy it established. By late 2025, 9 former fellows had founded their own nonprofit organizations. 12 had independently released music projects on streaming services. 18 had been accepted into international exchange or art residency programs. All 75 fellows to date had returned to Compton at least once to mentor the next generation. One of the original fellows, now a student at Columbia University, started hosting Compton to the World salons on campus, bringing voices from South LA into Ivy League classrooms. Another fellow became the youngest guest lecturer at USC's School of Cinematic Arts, using footage from Tokyo and Soweto to teach a course on transnational storytelling. Despite his talent, Kendrick rarely sought the limelight. He preferred not to center attention on himself, breaking his silence only once during a surprise visit to a high school graduation. As the valedictorian, a former classmate, concluded her speech, the principal unexpectedly invited Kendrick to the stage, prompting cheers from the students. Kendrick maintained a serious demeanor, holding up an old notebook. "This is my first rhyme book," he shared. "I wrote in it during math class and skipped lunch to finish my verses. I wasn't sure if anyone would care." He looked out at the audience. "But here's the truth. Someone is always listening. It could be a stranger, God, or the kid next to you waiting for a reason to speak up. Whatever you have inside you. Don't wait for permission." He closed the notebook. Compton to the World isn't just a dream, it's a journey. You just have to walk it as if you already belong. The gym erupted in applause, with teachers in tears and students chanting morale from the bleachers. In a year when celebrity culture was fixated on luxury and scandal, Kendrick highlighted something different: belief, not in himself, but in others. He didn't just throw money at issues, he built frameworks. He didn't merely uplift talent. He showed young people that their struggles could serve as a passport, their voices could create a legacy, and their existence was enough. By the end of 2025, applications for the 4th year of the fellowship had tripled. Kendrick expanded the team by bringing in alumni as directors and began testing the curriculum in cities like Oakland, Baltimore, and Houston. There were talks of a global cohort and a documentary, but Kendrick dismissed those ideas. "Not everything sacred needs to be filmed," he said. Instead, he empowered the students, urging them to take control, shape, and own their journeys. The Compton to the World Fellowship was not about building a brand. It was about forging connections. Kendrick continued to support them from behind the scenes, ensuring their efforts remained strong without seeking applause or media attention. What he possessed was far more valuable: a generation of visionaries from Compton who realized the world not only had space for them, it needed their presence. As 2026 approached, Kendrick's influence couldn't be measured by awards or streaming figures. It was evident in murals, mobile recording studios, and essays written on flights to places their parents never dreamed they would visit. In futures born from quiet determination and built with unwavering resolve. And in every city where a child without a clear path walks confidently, knowing that Kendrick Lamar sparked a flame that will continue to burn long after the last note fades. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation, so please share your opinions in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on this story.